All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons having anything to do before the Honorable KARYN POLITO, Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts, for the administration of the oath of office to Thomas M. Quinn as District Attorney of Bristol County and his Assistant District Attorneys. Draw near, give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Please remain standing.
Left wheel, arch. Detail. Hold.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I want to first thank Assistant Retired Chief Court Officer Jack Honohan for opening today's ceremony. And I'd also like to recognize the Massachusetts State Police Honor Guard and Major Ian Massey on bagpipe for their participation in this afternoon's ceremony. What a great way to start off the event, and I think they deserve a good round of applause. I am Second Assistant Jennifer SOWA, and it is my honor and privilege to serve as Mistress of Ceremonies this afternoon. It is my pleasure to ask Tommy Quinn to join me at the podium. He is one of D.A. Quinn's nephews, and he is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd ask you to all remain standing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tommy. Not easy to do in front of a large crowd. At this time, I would like to call upon Sergeant James Connor of the Massachusetts State Police to lead us in the national anthem.
Color guard detail, praise and arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order, arms.
Thank you, Sergeant Connor. I'd now like to invite to the podium Father Michael RACINE of St. Bernard's Church in Assonet and the chaplain of both the Fall River Police Department and the Fire Department to lead us in opening prayer.
Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, you have revealed your glory to all nations, God of power and might, wisdom and justice. Through you, authority is rightly administered, laws are enacted, and justice is decreed. As we gather on this significant occasion, we ask your blessings upon our District Attorney, Thomas Quinn, as he begins his next term of office, his service as Bristol County District Attorney. Give him continued guidance in his day-to-day responsibilities. Help him to continue visions he has brought forth in his administration. As we read in the book of Numbers, and Scripture reminds us, may the Lord bless him and keep him. May his face shine upon him daily and always be gracious to him. May the Lord look upon him with his kindness and give him his peace each day of service. We ask your blessings upon all of our public officials who each day to enact and observe the laws of this county of Bristol. We make all of our prayers through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Father RACINE. I'd ask everyone to remain standing for a minute longer so we can have the retirement of the colors.
Color detail, right, face. Forward, march. Your left, right. Your left.
Everyone can be seated. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone here to BCC for this inaugural ceremony. It is a privilege to be here at Bristol Community College, and I certainly want to thank everyone involved for making this event possible. To start off, I would like to call on BCC President Douglas to give some welcoming remarks.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Lieutenant Governor KARYN POLITO, Bristol County District Attorney Thomas M. Quinn III, legislators, mayors, public servants, assistant district attorneys, members of the news media, and those of us who love to call Bristol County our home. Welcome to Bristol Community College. My name is Laura Douglas, and I am honored to serve as Bristol's 4th president. Our vision at Bristol is to change the world by changing lives learner by learner. We strive to be the leading resource for education and workforce development in southeastern Massachusetts. We find strength in our connectedness to the community, and we value and respect diversity and strive to prepare well-rounded learners of all ages who are equipped to succeed and lead in our ever-changing world. Our core values include learning, excellence, integrity, diversity, community, and the value of an educated person. The educated person personifies those who have the ability to seek out information and apply concepts to both external problems and to everyday life. They seek out knowledge and use it to improve their lives as well as the lives of others. It is quite fitting that Bristol County District Attorney Thomas M. Quinn III selected Bristol Community College for his swearing-in ceremony for his next 4-year term, because as District Attorney, he too embraces excellence, integrity, diversity, community, and learning. And as an educated person, he seeks out knowledge to improve the lives of our citizens. We are honored to have Lieutenant Governor KARYN POLITO with us today. She has been a constant champion for southeastern Massachusetts. She's helped us to grow our STEM education, that's science, technology, engineering, and math programs. And she is truly invested in the educational success and economic prosperity of our gateway cities here in Bristol County. While it is quite cold outside, today is a great day to celebrate public service and the faith, integrity, and trust that we place in our public servants. Let's give all of our public servants a hearty round of applause. Thank you. Thank you for coming today and for being a part of this very important celebration.
Thank you, President Douglas. And I'd also like to thank the staff here at BCC for assistance in today's ceremony. At this time, I would like to call to the podium one of the District Attorney's brothers, John Quinn, to give some introductory remarks for Lieutenant Governor Polito.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And for those of you that are keeping score, I'm number 3 out of the 6 brothers. I first want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words of introduction about our very special guest, Lieutenant Governor KARYN POLITO. I had the good fortune of serving in the Massachusetts House of Representatives with her over the course of 10 years, and we sat one seat away from each other and built a lasting friendship over the course of those 10 years. I saw her develop as a legislator, as a member of the minority party in the rough and tumble world of the Massachusetts State House. During that time, I watched her excel as a member of the minority party, and I thought I'd share with you a couple of the attributes that I observed, which she has carried forward in her position as Lieutenant Governor. KARYN POLITO was and is a fighter. When it's a matter of personal conviction or something she felt very, very strongly about, she stood her ground and fought. Win or lose, she is a fighter. While at the same time, she was a great negotiator and advocate, able to reach compromise when it was important to her central Massachusetts district, something I hope that some of our elected officials all across this country would think about a little bit more. She also was a person and is a person that keeps her word. In my view, that's the most important currency when you're serving in a legislative body, to keep your word. When KARYN POLITO said she was going to do something, she did it. She has carried these skills forward and has done a wonderful job in the Baker-Polito administration. And I think to the point of keeping her word, when she campaigned across the state to be elected as lieutenant governor, she said, I'm going to serve the entire state of Massachusetts, not just central Mass where she's from, not north of Boston where the governor's from, but the entire state of Massachusetts. And she has done just that. Every time I turn around in southeastern Mass, I'm bumping into the lieutenant governor or the governor. They're down here on a regular, weekly basis, it seems like, meeting with elected officials, meeting with the business community or the higher education community, or merely serving constituents' needs. I must share with you a brief story, and I saw Mayor Hoy here, and he can verify this. A couple of weeks ago, the governor and lieutenant governor got inaugurated for their second term in office. It was January the 8th. I received an invitation for a 9 a.m. meeting January the 9th in New Bedford with the lieutenant governor. I said, that can't possibly be. She's going to be up until the wee hours of the morning celebrating their second term in office. I called the person that invited me and I said, I don't think she's going to be there. He said, yes, she is. Sure enough, 9 a.m. the morning after the inaugural ball, there she was on the waterfront in New Bedford, her first stop after getting re-inaugurated into the position. I want to close with one final example of these skills that KARYN POLITO has had, and those are as a fighter and negotiator on behalf of my brother Tom. 4 years ago, there was 3 or 4 anxiety-filled weeks, and the question of the day was, who was going to be the next DA of Bristol County? The complex decision-making process was too hard to follow, and I certainly can't explain it. But I can explain one thing to you that was very clear to many of us. KARYN POLITO, over those 3 or 4 weeks, was fighting and negotiating on behalf of Tom's candidacy to be the district attorney. While certainly Governor Baker made the technical appointment, I'm not taking anything away from the governor, it was a great appointment, I can honestly say that without KARYN POLITO's advocacy, don't tell the governor, Tom Quinn may not have been the next district attorney. So with that, please join me in giving Lieutenant Governor KARYN POLITO a warm South Coast welcome.
You spent a lot of time putting that together. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. That introduction was certainly worth the trip today, right? That was a wonderful sentiment from a very good friend. And thank you so much, John, for those very kind words. So when I had the opportunity to serve in the House of Representatives, yes, it's true that John Quinn sat to my left, and then to the left of him was former Representative Fagan. And I think they should have been seated to my right, but that's okay. I get that. Nice to see you as well. I want to thank President Douglas, and I see former President Sprague here in the room as well, for your leadership in this community and for really making sure that the walls of this institution are not barriers for people to be able to come here and access the skills, whether as a new student or someone looking to reskill as an adult. This is a real critical engine for workforce development, something that Governor Baker and I are spending a whole lot of time on with our partners in higher ed. And John Quinn, to all of our friends at UMass Dartmouth, including President Johnson, we appreciate everything that you do in partnership with us. Yes, we invest in places, and we spend a lot of time here on the South Coast. It's a beautiful part of our Commonwealth. I live in the heart of the Commonwealth, central Massachusetts, where we don't have mountains or oceans, but we have good people, and I think that's truly the most important asset that you have, are the people of this region. And when I look out here, I see so many people who are from Bristol County, maybe generations of family that are still here in Bristol County, raising your children here, digging your roots even deeper into this community, and certainly the Quinn family is a true testament of that. That's what makes a region and a community really thrive, are the people, your commitment, your dedication, and more so your belief in who you are and what you know you can be. So it is no secret that the governor and I are here because we also believe in you, and we want to continue to see your home area, your region, have as much opportunity as we can pack into the cities and towns of this area for the future and next generations to come. I also want to pick up on what John was talking about in terms of how we do business in state government, in terms of our relationship with local government, our relationship with our district attorneys and partners in public safety. We have something pretty special here in the Commonwealth. We don't really think about ourselves from political affiliations. We think about ourselves as public servants, and we think about just rolling up our sleeves and doing our work together. In politics, you call that bipartisanship. But in workplaces, and what's evident here, it's collaboration. And the ability for all of us here in Massachusetts who hold these elected positions or these leadership positions to understand that when we can work together and partner and not worry about who gets credit for what, but just do the work for the people, how hugely powerful that is. And it's clear that that asset itself is something really special and important for the future success of our Commonwealth. So I do want to point out a few of my partners in that way. I see Representative Viola and her husband Ken. Often that's the case. Husband Ken is right there with her, truly dedicated public servants in the area. Thank you, Carol, for your help today. I see Representative Schmidt as well. Thank you for your leadership. I see my friend on the Governor's Council, Joe Ferreira, who does a lot of work in helping the governor and I recruit and ask for people who work either in district attorney's offices or in the private sector to think about service in our courts. And thank you, Joe, for your partnership. I see Mayor Hoy. Thank you for coming from Taunton to be here for this celebration and very important milestone for Tom Quinn. I want to just acknowledge what did happen 4 years ago. Certainly when the governor and I first came into office, we were quite honored to have that opportunity. But one of the very first decisions, and a really big one we had to make, was the future office holder for the district attorney of Bristol County. And I want to thank this community, and I know Governor Baker expresses his gratitude through me today as well, because you are the ones that made that decision. You were the ones that gathered the letters of support and wrote petitions and shared information and stories and really verified the character of the individual who came forward who wanted to serve as the district attorney. And it was that outpouring of sincere information sharing, if you will, with Governor Baker and I, new to the office, right? I don't even know if we were sworn in yet, but we were new to the office, having to make that decision. We would not have been able and should not have been able to make that without you. So we want to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to appoint 4 years ago Tom Quinn to be your district attorney. And it's been my honor to not only witness at Bishop Conley when you gathered together with the Quinn family and your parents being there at that time to see you sworn into office, but then to have the opportunity to join many of you again at UMass Dartmouth to also extend the oath of office to DA Quinn, and now to be here today with all of you to do that. What a personal honor it is to see your district attorney, but most importantly, your friend, continue to be able to serve in a very important role that not only upholds the public safety for the people of the communities of Bristol County, but also really does a lot with our administration about policy and really helps the team that he has put into position at the Assistant District Attorneys, his leadership team, and the staff of the Bristol County DA's office to do the work you need to do, meeting people where they are in your community that come in contact with the District Attorney's office. So while you have someone who understands the importance of public safety, he also brings the right temperament and level of compassion to the work as a district attorney. And I just want to give you a couple of examples of how appreciative we are to have had the ability to work with this DA on a number of important initiatives. Take the opioid epidemic as a very first example, an epidemic and a crisis that has gripped this Commonwealth and states across this country. And being able to work not only to enforce laws, but also be able to work with individuals who come into the criminal justice system, who instead of being incarcerated really need treatment, and to figuring out with the assistant district attorneys how to divert individuals either into a drug court or into a program to get the support and the treatment and the services they need in this community. That's a real testament to someone like Tom Quinn, who understands that and really has worked well and effectively in this region to do the right thing for these individuals and families that come into contact with the district attorney's office. I want to give a shout out to Courtney Cahill. I'm sure she's somewhere here in this room. I don't see you. Here you are. And thank you for your leadership on the Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence Council. I have the honor of chairing that council, and I want to thank Courtney for spearheading a subcommittee of that council and working so closely with the Bristol County DA's office to pilot a program here in the Commonwealth that is now spreading to other district attorneys and municipal police departments across the state. And it was through her work and her effort and her leadership that this pilot was truly tested and perfected. And what it does is creates an assessment tool for victims of domestic violence, for municipal police officers who are trained to use this tool, to interact with the victim when that call is made, to engage in a meaningful conversation, to really understand what's happening in his or her life. And the most important part of this assessment tool, it's then used by the district attorney's office to then hold the perpetrators accountable, but at the same time, connect the victim to the services that he or she needs in your community with a third-party provider. So it's just an amazing effort around better connecting victims to become survivors and holding perpetrators accountable. And that model was originated here by a strategic member of your team under the leadership of DA Quinn and is now spread to other counties and departments across the Commonwealth. So I'm so grateful for that, and I want to thank you. And finally, I want to acknowledge that we always have room for improvement. And unfortunately, over the past 4 years, we have witnessed what I would describe as some shortcomings within not the work that you do, but the rules that you have to live by. And that is relative to the dangerousness statute. And in too many instances, individuals have been able to either be brought back into the community during a pre-release condition, even if a condition is violated, and do some terrible things that have taken the lives of police officers here in this Commonwealth. The governor and I and our team, working with the district attorneys, have come up with what we think are better ideas and strategies around fixing a dangerousness statute so that you as assistant district attorneys and judges can have more tools to work with, taking a longer look back at someone's criminal history, being able to hold individuals accountable more so for the crimes that they have committed, and at the same time protect the public safety. And under the DA's leadership and the new filing that we've made, working with our colleagues in the legislature, we sure hope that we can fix that statute and do the right thing for the people of this Commonwealth. So I just want to finalize my thoughts by saying thank you to Sharon for your love and commitment to your husband to be able to do this work. To the Quinn brothers for always being there for your brother to be able to do his work. And I know that Mr. and Mrs. Quinn would be so happy today knowing that you stand once again to take the oath of office to serve the people of Bristol County. Elections matter. Having the right people in these positions absolutely matters. So the final thanks is to you. Thank you for making a very wise decision and seeing Tom Quinn continue to serve the people of Bristol County and for helping us do our jobs for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. God bless you all, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor, for your remarks. And at this time, the Lieutenant Governor will administer the oath of office to Bristol County District Attorney Thomas M. Quinn III. I'm going to ask District Attorney Quinn and his wife Sharon to approach the podium for the administration of the oath of office.
Okay, please raise your right hand, and after I state your name. I
Thomas M. Quinn III.
do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and will support the Constitution thereof,
and will support the Constitution thereof.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I
Thomas M. Quinn III.
do solemnly swear and affirm
Do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as District Attorney of Bristol County,
as District Attorney of Bristol County,
according to the best of my abilities
according to the best of my abilities
and understanding,
and understanding,
agreeably
agreeably
to the rules and regulations
to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution
of the Constitution
and the laws of this Commonwealth,
and the laws of this Commonwealth.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I
Thomas M. Quinn III.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Congratulations to District Attorney Quinn. At this time, the Lieutenant Governor will also administer the oath of office to all Assistant District Attorneys. I'm going to ask all Assistant District Attorneys to please rise and raise your right hands, please.
Okay. So after I, and this will sound a little funny to the rest of you, but you'll state your names, okay? I,
Jennifer Zola,
do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and will support the Constitution thereof, so help me God. I do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as Associate District Attorney of Bristol County, according to the best of my abilities and understanding, agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and the laws of this Commonwealth. So help me God. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Congratulations and thank you.
Congratulations, everyone. In describing the qualities of a good prosecutor, Supreme Court Justice Robert H. Jackson once remarked that the citizen's safety lies in the prosecutor who tempers zeal with human kindness, who seeks truth and not victims, who serves the law and not factional purposes, and who approaches his task with humility. I can think of no prosecutor who best exemplifies these qualities than District Attorney Tom Quinn. I find it fitting, these remarks, because I didn't find them in a book, I didn't find them online. In fact, they were contained in one of the many letters of support that were referenced by Lieutenant Governor POLITO that were sent 4 years ago to the newly elected governor and lieutenant governor on behalf of Tom Quinn, seeking his appointment for the position of Bristol County District Attorney. I thank the governor and lieutenant governor for choosing the right person to lead the Bristol County District Attorney's office. I've had the opportunity to work with DA Quinn now for about 12 years. And during that time, I have come to know him as a man of faith, a man of family, and a man with a deep sense of commitment to his community. Bristol County is where he lives, it's where he has worked, and it is where he was raised. Throughout DA Quinn's prosecutorial career, which spans almost probably 25 years, he has worked tirelessly on behalf of the citizens of Bristol County, with public safety being his top priority. I want to thank personally DA Quinn for being a mentor to me over the past 12 years, and I want to thank him on behalf of all staff for the example that he sets for us each and every day, and for his advocacy on behalf of the citizens of Bristol County. At this time, I would call upon District Attorney Tom Quinn to give his inaugural address.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Very nice. Is it Jen? Where is it? Well, it's off to a good start. Well, the mic's... Thank you very much, Jennifer, for that very kind introduction. Flattery will get you everywhere. No, just kidding. I want to begin by thanking all of you for being here today and for Bristol Community College for allowing me to have the ceremony at the college. Also see former President Sprague there, who I'm friendly with, so thank you for attending. Thank you, President Douglas. Special thanks to Governor Polito for taking the time to come down here and administer the oath of office to me today. I also would like to thank her and the governor for their attention that they have given to Fall River and Bristol County during the last 4 years. Very nice remarks by my brother John to Lieutenant Governor Polito. I'll be sure to tell the governor when he's reviewing the law school budget that he was just kidding, that he had nothing to do with the appointment, but I'm sure he'll understand. Prior to being appointed district attorney 4 years ago, I received a lot of support from many people in the community, the staff at the district attorney's office. I continue to be grateful for that support and for the continued support of many people during the last 4 years. I again would like to express my thanks to Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito for appointing me to this important position 4 years ago. I appreciate their support during the past few years on budget initiatives and other legislation, especially bail reform. In particular, I would like to thank the governor, lieutenant governor, the legislative leadership, and legislators for significantly increasing the salaries of assistant district attorneys during the last 3 years. For many years, the salaries of assistant district attorneys were significantly below their state counterparts. This fund has allowed DAs, assistant DAs, to try to make a living wage. So I want to thank you for that. It's very important. It will allow for retention of prosecutors, which provides stability to the DA's office and a better quality of life for them. I'd like to express my gratitude to all of my family for their support throughout my career. I would like to thank my children, in particular my wife, who has always been very supportive of me, especially during the past 4 years. She has been very tolerant and understanding of my schedule and the many demands of the job. When I spoke at my first inauguration 4 years ago, I outlined what I hope to accomplish as a district attorney. I can stand here today and discuss what I believe to be a number of significant accomplishments during the past 4 years. With the hard work and efforts of the staff at the District Attorney's Office, we have moved forward on a number of initiatives. I want to thank my leadership team for helping me manage the office and carry out the initiatives that have been implemented during that time. I also want to thank the staff of the office for their dedication to the mission of doing justice and keeping the public safe. I've tried to be responsive to the needs and requests of the people connected to the criminal justice system in Bristol County. I have made it a priority to try to promptly respond in a reasonable way to many issues brought to my attention, and I will continue to do that. I'm very proud that we have created an elder fraud and abuse unit that has made a significant impact in prosecuting crimes against the elderly. I want to thank Assistant District Attorney Michael Scott for his efforts in overseeing this unit. I have visited every Council on Aging and Senior Center in Bristol County at least once during the last 4 years. It's important to spread the message of education and prevention, which is certainly more preferable to prevent elder fraud from occurring than prosecuting people who have done irreparable harm to the elderly. Our senior citizens are a precious commodity who have given much to this country. They must be protected. We have continued to prioritize domestic violence cases and have made significant strides in holding offenders accountable for violent assaults against women and children. Domestic violence has been a plague on our society for years. It undermines the fabric of the family unit and causes irreparable harm to many women and children. We will continue to aggressively prosecute these cases. As was referenced by the Lieutenant Governor, I would like to thank Assistant District Attorney Courtney Cahill, who leads our domestic violence unit, for her efforts in the statewide police training and in developing protocols to protect and keep track of high-risk offenders. She has worked on these important issues as a member of the Governor's Council on Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence with the Lieutenant Governor, who I'd also like to thank for focusing on these very important issues. My priority, one of my priorities, but a top priority, is to protect the public from violent and repeat offenders who cause the most mayhem in our communities. I have continued to focus on prosecuting cases involving illegal firearms. That was initiated almost 12 years ago by former District Attorney Sutter. I want to thank him for his efforts in that area in focusing on the illegal use of firearms, in particular in our cities. Nothing but trouble will come from individuals running around our communities with loaded guns, illegal loaded guns. There are too many illegal guns and knives on the streets of our communities, which inflict serious injury and death. Much of this violence is related to drug dealing. As has been reported in recent newspaper articles, there are thousands of people in default on criminal cases throughout the state. While many of these are for minor offenses, there are also violent fugitives who are on the run trying to avoid justice. We will soon unveil a new initiative aimed at tracking down dangerous fugitives in our county. Our state police detective unit, working with other law enforcement agencies, will track down the most serious and violent offenders who are on the loose. We have already started this program and have arrested a number of fugitives who face serious charges in Superior Court. You simply will not get a pass when you skip court and try to evade prosecution. I have tried to be a good partner with our law enforcement agencies, and I believe we are working well together. I want to thank police chiefs who are present here today, and I would also like to thank our other law enforcement partners, which include the Children's Advocacy Center and the Bristol Elder Services. I'd also like to give a thank you to our state police detective unit that is assigned to the District Attorney's Office for their efforts in investigating serious homicides and related crimes. They are primarily responsible for investigating homicides, overdoses, and unattended deaths. Bristol County is a very busy place. I want to thank you for your service. Every night I'm reading reports of people that they're responding to who are deceased, which are very tragic, but as I've always been an advocate, Bristol County is a very busy place. I'd like to give a special thank you to State Police Detective Lieutenant Michael King, who recently retired. He is here today. He was a key member of our State Police Detective Unit for more than 20 years. I worked with him in the mid-90s when he first came to the unit, and I was a soldier, so to speak. He was promoted by me to lead the unit several years ago. I would like to thank him for his efforts on behalf of the office and the citizens of Bristol County. He has done a very effective and honorable job investigating and overseeing difficult cases. I wish Mike and his family the best. Thank you, Mike. 4 years ago, I talked about the need to reform the bail statute. It has bothered me for more than 30 years that dangerous criminals get released from custody and in many cases commit new crimes. I filed legislation last year which reformed an aspect of the bail statute, but more is needed. We need common sense bail reform that eliminates unreasonable and illogical loopholes that result in dangerous defendants being sprung back in the community, often to reoffend again. One example of the urgent need for bail reform is a recent state Supreme Court case that ruled that the district attorneys cannot request that a court hold a defendant who is charged with aggravated rape of a child without bail. In that particular case, the individual would be facing a mandatory 10-year jail sentence because the crime, for example, would be a 40-year-old individual accused of raping a 10-year-old. Because the charge is not in the statute, the court has ruled that we cannot move to detain those people. That's a change that has to be made. And again, the only change is to give us the opportunity to ask the judge, the court, to hold the person if the facts and circumstances warrant it. I want to thank Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito for taking the initiative and filing this important bail reform legislation. I was pleased to work with them on this initiative and support many of the changes in the legislation. I look forward to continuing to work with our legislative delegation and the leadership so we can make these necessary changes. I am not proposing any radical or unfair changes in this bail statute. However, the public, victims, and law enforcement have a right to be protected from dangerous criminals. This is something I have always felt very strongly about. Our office has also become involved in prevention initiatives in response to the county-wide drug epidemic. We have partnered with a nonprofit organization, Corey's Cause, that brings a real-life message to students about the impact of drug abuse. We have also partnered with the New Bedford Police Department, what is called the LEAD program, Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion, which involves pre-arrest diversion for low-level offenders charged with simple drug possession, prostitution, and some other similar crimes. Approximately 15 people have been admitted to the program within the last 6 months. This type of program has proven effective in the cities of Seattle and Albany, New York. I was forwarded a letter recently from a woman who was one of the early entrants into the program. She was pregnant and on drugs, not a good combination. She was, as part of this program, was placed in a treatment, got into a program, and has said at this point in time, she is doing well and was very thankful to those involved for giving her this opportunity. So I certainly get much more satisfaction out of hearing that than, unfortunately, prosecuting people doing bad things. So hopefully that's a sign of what can come of the program. I'm also very pleased to announce that we've added an additional trial session that I requested to the Superior Court in Fall River. I want to thank Judge Thomas McGuire and the trial court leadership for their efforts to make this a reality. This is something I have always wanted and has been much needed for a long time. I cannot accept child sexual assault victims being traumatized by unreasonable delays in court proceedings, and in other cases, the release of dangerous criminals simply because their cases can't be brought to trial in a timely manner. The citizens and victims of Bristol County deserve their adequate share of judicial resources to effectively and efficiently prosecute these cases. So I'm very thankful that this request has been acted on, and again, appreciate my, convey my thanks and gratitude for this. It's already making a difference. During the past year, both of my parents passed away. I, along with my family, are very appreciative of their support and the many sacrifices they made on our behalf. I certainly miss their encouragement and support and realize I wouldn't be here without them. As I did 4 years ago, I would also like to acknowledge the support of my late uncle, Judge James Quinn, and my Aunt Rosemary Quinn, who is here today. Their support was instrumental in my development as a person, and certainly without their support and assistance with our family, I don't think any of the family would be where they are today. So I want to thank them again very much. I don't have any illusions of how I got here. I would like to thank Father RACINE and Father FITZPATRICK for their prayers here today. I'd also like to thank other members of the clergy, some of who are here, for their support of myself and my family during my parents' illness and death. See, my pastor, Father J. Maddock, is here, who was very friendly with my father and supportive during his illness, along with my mother. So I want to thank them, and also Father Rodney Tebow, who was the pastor at St. Mary's, where they were parishioners, and provided them much comfort and solace. My faith is very important to me. I rely on it to make the many decisions I am confronted with on a daily basis. I realize I am nothing without it, and want to thank the clergy that are here in keeping me on track. Would also like to acknowledge the passing of KARYN Lynch, who was a longtime football coach and athletic director at Dartmouth High School. He was my high school football coach and mentor and teacher to many people in the community over the years. He had a profound impact on the lives of many people as a coach and teacher. I want to express my thanks for his support of me as a player and during my tenure as district attorney the past 4 years. Also, at the end of last year, Joachim Jack Nobrigo, who was a well-known figure in the Bedford area in the school committee, passed away. He was a coach at Holy Family High School when they had great teams and made a significant contribution to New Bedford over the years. I wanted to acknowledge his support for me and thank him for that in memoriam. With the passing of our family members and these two gentlemen and others, it really is an end of an era in many respects for the people associated with them who knew them. So just want to keep them in mind. It's been an honor to serve as a district attorney in Bristol County for the past 4 years. I take nothing for granted because I know I would not be in this position without the support of many of you here today, the community, and the Baker-Polito administration. My only goal and agenda is to do the best job I can for the citizens of Bristol County. Thank you very much.
I'd now like to invite Reverend Fitzpatrick of St. Louis de France Parish in Swansea to the podium for the benediction.
Let us pray. Lord God, we are grateful for your presence and your spirit as we've gathered here this afternoon. Continue to bless Tom Quinn with the faith that enables him to see people, their life situations, their human tragedy with the eyes of compassion, fairness, and justice. Bless us as we go forward from here, as we make your work our work here on earth. May everything we do begin with your help, continue with your inspiration, and happily reach its conclusion in you. In faith we pray. Amen.
Before we close today's ceremony, I want to thank everyone for attending. Again, thank the Bristol Community College community and the new president for hosting us today. And at the conclusion, I'd like to invite everyone into the lobby for some light refreshments. And I'd like to welcome back to the podium Court Officer Jack HONOHAN to officially close today's ceremony.
All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons having anything further to do before the Honorable KARYN POLITO, Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts, for the administration of the oath of office to Thomas M. Quinn as District Attorney of Bristol County and his Assistant District Attorneys. Depart and go without day. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.